have our first panel segment. We have our representative, Mrs. Mojeed, representing the president, who is also on the national assignment. Today is the day of national assignment, okay? He's the president and the chairman of the governing council, the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management Nigeria, CIPM, and is ably represented by our national treasurer. So we can see the answers are still coming in. It's okay. Like I said, if you miss a letter, you are wrong. So it's okay. You never can tell. You may think you are the winner, and just the next person that did miss a word might be the winner. Okay. All right. So we also have here in our midst on the, this panel, Mrs. Adora Ikwuemesi, who is the managing director for Kendall Consulting. She's one person I admire so much because she's been doing a lot in the MSME space. Interestingly, she would tell me that Funke, MSME was not my thing, especially from the beginning. That's what Adora would say. But you see, somehow she has found herself into the space, okay? So Adora, thank you so much, my sister, for honoring this, and we would keep driving the progress together. Nigeria is for us, you know. It's not only for some people, it's for all of us. We will make it work. Right. So my treasurer, please, you're also welcome here. Thank you when we are able to get Dr. Olusegun Akanji up. Hopefully we'll be able to get him soon to join us because he has our money. We need him to bring the monies to the table. And courtesy of him and a couple of projects we are doing at Leapworld, we have some equity investments on the table. So towards the end of the program, we'll be calling for interest in equity investments. And for people that are able to show interest at that time when we call up for investment, we'll be reaching out to you. We'll provide hand-holding for you, coaching, and we position you for having a proper structure and having some equity investment injection in your business if you qualify. So stay on the program, don't go away so you don't miss that opportunity when it comes up. It's limited, it's a limited edition. It's our pilot edition and it's for limited people. And if you have people that you think might be interested and they are not on this call, you better reach out to them. You know, Yoruba people will say, please, how do I interpret that to the non-Yoruba people? That the Savior should not pass me by. So don't let's be there when the Savior is passing. You know, if you're not there when the Savior is passing, you're already on your own. All right, thank you very much. So we have the first panelist. Oh, hooray, we have Dr. Olusegun Akanji. You see, this our money must not leave us. He's here. He has to bring our money. Thank you so much, Dr. Olusegun Akanji, for being on the call. So I'm going to leave the floor in 1 minute for the panelists to introduce themselves. So we have CIPM introduce CIPM. CIPM, I'm sure a lot of people are waiting for you. I personally, even though I'm your member, you know I'm always giving it to you. You know, I don't hide my own. I'll say it from a business person's point of view, and I'll say it from a member's point of view. So you're welcome. We just want you in 1 minute to introduce yourselves and what you do. So we start with CIPM. My treasurer, you have the floor.
Okay, Funke, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. I've been asked to introduce CIPM, and I'm not Mr. CIPM. However, good afternoon. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Funke, my sister Adora. Good morning, team. Good morning, everyone on the panel. Good morning, and all our participants today. My name is Mojeed. I'm actually here to represent Mr. Olusegun Mojeed, FCIPM, the president of CIPM. I am Mojeed, MCIPM, I'm the national treasurer. CIPM, who are we and what do we do? CIPM is the apex regulatory body in Nigeria for human resource management and practices. We are a regulatory body, and what we are established to oversee management of labor, human resources in Nigeria, established by an act, and the only one existing so far. We've been there since 1968, we were chartered in 1992, and we are still here. We run certification for members who would like to practice human resource management in various organizations. We regulate organizations who do that. We're empowered by the law, by an act to do that. We ensure the development and capacity building for our members. We also make sure that my president will call moral suasion. That's what we're using now, trying to ensure that the right things are being done in organizations. When you talk of best practices in terms of human resource management, ensuring that there's enough knowledge base in-house, on ground in Nigeria to ensure that we do the right thing in various organizations. So basically, and in summary, that is what CIPM is all about, regulation of human resource practice in Nigeria. I would, since it's just an introduction, I'll stop there now. Thank you very much. Over to you, Funke.
Thank you very much, my treasurer.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Adora, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So you have
I was handing over to you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, perfectly.
Yes, so Mrs. Adora Ikwuemesi, you have the floor.
Hi. All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Funke, for this invitation. Just as Funke said, we go way back, but this is not about Funke and I. So my name is Adora Ikwuemesi. I'm currently the founder of Kendall Consulting, an HR consultancy that specializes in learning and development solutions. In a nutshell, my organization helps individuals and businesses support their people efforts, especially with regards to learning and development. So that's, that's us in a nutshell. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Olusegun Akanji, thank you for always showing up for us and honoring this invitation and always being there when we need you, okay? Please, in 1 minute, we'd like you to also talk to us.
Hello, well, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, perfectly.
Well, the video says I can't be allowed, you cannot start your video because the host has disabled you. That's a good thing. So, well, my name is Dr. Olusegun Akanji, and my interest is in financial services. I have very strong passion for SMEs. So I am involved in quite a number of them. And we've nurtured many startups into functional operation. Some of them a few of them are turning into million-dollar businesses today. And that is gladdening when you see, even in spite of there are many SMEs we can talk about in terms of failures, but that gives you what we call the lessons of how to deal with SMEs. And then, of course, the good thing is that we also have quite a number of very successful SMEs that have turned out now to be able to dwarf the losses. And I guess there are a lot of experiences I can share from the failures and a lot I can point to in terms of the successes. So that's my conversation today. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Akanji. Okay, so for people that have questions, we have Q&A. I can see some questions already directed at Medun. So in this segment, we are going to be focusing on the human capital component of the small business ecosystem. Okay, so we are going to be looking at the challenges, we are going to be looking at the opportunities, we are going to be looking at the initiatives. CIPM is here. I'm aware there are a lot of initiatives from CIPM as well. Okay, so we want them to tell us. And I know that when we get, so if you have questions, and when it comes to funding, we have Dr. Olusegun Akanji here also. So we want to look at from the banking perspective. Why? So if you have issues around assessing funding, even from the equity component, you know, I mentioned to you that we'll be looking at equity option. And do you know there's an opportunity also in the SEC system here. Do you know? It's just that we are not using it. So those are some of the things we'll be looking at. How can we get different forms of funding opportunities? So I'm going to start with the HR space. We think CIPM doesn't understand us sometimes. So my treasurer, CIPM. So this is what I have. Do you think human capital in the MSME ecosystem is really a big challenge? Okay, just CIPM see it as a big challenge. I want us to go straight to the point, you know, not just to have some lengthy conversation.
Hello, Funke, please, can you, hello?
Yes,
I didn't hear that well. Can you take that again?
Okay, yes.
Apologies.
It's fine. So I said we'll go straight to the point. It's not about the length of the conversation, it's about the quality. And that's why we go straight to the point in this conversation today. So from CIPM's point of view, do you think human capital is a challenge, okay, in the micro, small, and medium enterprises space? If you think so, how is CIPM connected to these challenges? And what are some of the things you've been doing, okay, to show that you are connected to our plight? That's what I want us to go straight to, starting with you. Did you get my question?
Thank you very much. Yes, question. Human capital is a challenge. What is CIPM doing about it? Am I correct?
Yes, in the MSME space, not in the large enterprise
Thank
space.
you very much. Well, like I say, MSME is all about, yes, I know. It's all about people. It's all about means of working, of living, of livelihood, and it's all about performance. Having said that, the mantra of CIPM is to add value through people. So like I said earlier, we regulate human resource management. Now, if we are to live by our mantra, and if we say that this sector, MSMEs, they engage over 70% of the workforce globally, and even in Nigeria, it's over 84% of our workforce, then we cannot afford to ignore them. And we realized that long ago. So at CIPM, what are we doing? Now, on the board itself, on council, as an administration, even from the last administration, we recognize the importance of this sector in job creation, in providing jobs, and if they are not well managed, of course, our economy will be in trouble. If they are not well managed, then of course, the labor force, which CIPM is also for, would also be in trouble. So what we then did at CIPM is that we have a particular oversee this. And I'm sure you are aware that they've been doing a lot. Last year, we were here as well, well represented. And that provided an opportunity for us to say some of the things and the areas we want to collaborate in. Now, if you go through, we have a part of our membership like called corporate membership. That is where organizations come in. We realize that these are informal sectors. But if you go through our page, our website, you'll notice that we created opportunity. We created a platform, a particular sector for the informal sector where the MSMEs could fit into, not just the large corporations, but these ones that really need CIPM, because the large corporations, they could afford to pay the bill, they can get themselves skills. But majority of the challenge lies with this sector, and we are concerned. We also, within CIPM, have our learning programs, which they can learn from. In terms of getting manpower, we know that we have the ready to market, and we see that as a pool. It's just that I do not know how much they are aware of it, but we've been interacting with them and trying to communicate either through you or through our committee. So we also have pool of manpower. Ready to market is a program where we prepare young people who are ready to go into the market, into the labor market, and work with organizations, and then they intern there because they have gone through CIPM certification, because they are well skilled, and they have gone through our post-certification training, which is the ready to market training. They are well prepared to provide some of these services with CIPM backing. And what these people, the good thing about them is that they are affordable because they earn much less, like we say, internship. So they can actually, the MSMEs can actually have access to this pool of workforce and use them. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Am I being heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
So that is on the part of recruitment, on the part of access to qualified and skilled manpower. Beyond that, I know that one of the initiatives of this committee that we use to interact with this sector is to have a help desk for MSMEs. And what this help desk is supposed to do is that they are available to provide advisory services, consulting services. We are aware of the challenge of this sector in terms of funding and availability of funds to really recruit the kind of skills they would need. So with these desks in-house at CIPM, its work is ongoing to make sure that that is created. Once that is created, with that initiative, I'm aware and I'm sure that we'll then have access to the kind of advisory services we will need, the kind of support we will actually need from CIPM. Most of our learning programs are also quite subsidized and affordable, and we expect that our sector, the MSME sector, would assess that and take advantage of that particular program. For instance, we have one coming up tomorrow, which is the Special Human Resource Forum. This used to be a program we normally have over 100,000, but as at the one happening for this year is 20,000, quite affordable. And we have a lot of learning to be shared there. So, and with this committee too, I believe that we would interact with this Medun as to get proper areas of collaboration and then get to know how we can interact for what the act is. And that's some of the acts today. But I'm sure that as a, in terms of course, what we do, initiative to help with the manpower challenge they may be having at this point. I hope I answered your questions. Okay.
Yes, you did answer, and I like the fact that you said funding is not available. So I was laughing here that maybe CIPM is going to give us funding also. So that makes to have plenty money on the table. You said you understand
CIPM challenges. But you know you have someone who will give funding here. Okay. You know you are aware of that. Yes, who will provide support in terms of manpower, in terms of solutions and interventions. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I picked that. So small businesses may have challenges with funding to maybe pay the workforce. So what I take away is that CIPM has some initiatives that can help us in case small businesses are not able to fund those workforce. CIPM has support desk that can help provide those services in order to complement what is required for us. In terms, we are short of cash flow to be able to employ capable hands to do that. That CIPM will work with that. Thank you very much for that initiative. Interestingly, I'm in that committee, the SME committee of CIPM. So in case you don't know, CIPM has a committee that was newly set up, that is dedicated to support small businesses. So you can reach out to CIPM. We'll be giving the information, making the information available so that you can also send an email. And we have capable hands there that would do a lot of pro bono HR support. There's also something on the table.
In addition, Funke, sorry, I recall that I mentioned that for those of them, we have the ready to market, which is also a pool of young HR people that they can have access to. I mean, it's even cheap for internship of 1 year. You can have access to these people at a very affordable cost. And I guess that with interaction, we can begin to deploy them to these various organizations for those who signify interest that they would like to have this ready to market participants as part of their workforce. They'll need to have them. Those ones will be there on ground to also serve them as HR person. And they are not very expensive. They are interns really. And they can have them for 1 year. So I think that's also something CIPM can do for them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, CIPM, for that initiative. I'll come to you on the ready to market staff. So let me talk to Adora. Adora, you are not just an HR practitioner. You also run a business. You know, it's good to have all these beautiful initiatives from CIPM, people that are ready to, from your experience working with interns now. So I mean, I'm trying to link what, so working with interns, you know, you and I, we've had a lot of conversation around workforce, interns and all that. If you have your way, Adora will employ someone as senior as an MD of a multinational to come and work in our office, you know. So Adora, what has been your experience as a business person in the human capital space? Tell us some of your challenges and what you've done so that we can learn from your experience to be able to overcome some of these challenges.
Thank you, Funke, for that question. So I'm going to address it not just as a personal, because I wear two hats. Obviously, I consult for businesses, including small and medium-sized businesses, and then I'm also a small business. Sometimes I wonder, I feel like dropping one so I can focus on the other. But currently, obviously, that's the situation. Now, I think I will speak for businesses generally. There's a huge human capital challenge, generally speaking. And with SMEs, what I find is that I feel like one of the biggest hindrances is always cost. When I speak to a lot of clients, as well as small businesses and us ourselves, you just gave the example, it's always a cost issues. I find that a lot of SMEs are not funded adequately from the onset. Now is like what? That's about $4 a day, right? That's very cheap. Labor camp in Africa is very cheap. But when you want intellect everywhere, human capital, the most valuable part of people is human capital, which is the skills, the knowledge. That is not, it's scarce. And what I mean by scarce, when it's refined, when it's scarce, that makes it expensive. So a lot of time you find out that small businesses can't afford adequate human capital. And this is where this is usually the bane of their problems. Because what does this mean? They can't staff their organizations. We can't staff and let you know, the organization stems from structure. Now, going back to your example of interns, a lot of small businesses, when they start a business, the first people they want to recruit is interns. The very nature of the name, you know that means that this is somebody in training. This is somebody who is, in fact, in most developed countries, an intern hasn't even finished, it's not a graduate. It's somebody in training. So why would you want to staff your organization with somebody in training? What I find is that it's because they can't afford anyone who is more experienced. So there is it's like a vicious circle, right? You can't afford it, so you hire someone cheap. You hire someone cheap, so your organization does not deliver on its objectives. So you find that what I find with a lot of SMEs is that they're not adequately, structure is one thing, but what is more important is the staffing. A lot of people say structure. Structure is not complete until you staff it. So we can design a beautiful structure and say, this is the structure of our SME. But if you don't have those roles filled with the right people, with the right competence, then your structure is as good as nothing. So until you recruit the roles you need. So I find that a lot of SMEs don't have the right people in the right positions. And vacancies are expensive. I don't know whether there is a reason for calling them vacancies, because when a position is vacant, it means that what that company was set up to deliver, it cannot deliver because there's a gap, right? So when we're not adequately staffed as organizations, meaning that we don't have the right people. For example, like there are 3 key operations of every business. Your key you're a founder, maybe you have one or two of these roles, but you can't adequately perform all these roles. So you need somebody who would be very skilled in operations. You need somebody who is very skilled in finance. You need someone who's very skilled in sales and marketing. How many SMEs can get the right level of people in those roles? Very few. Most of the time, there's a founder who's doing everything. And you know, when one person tries to do everything, we know that one person can't do everything. And so this remains the struggle. So there's a huge gap in terms of the capital, the human capital, which delivers the results. You know, human beings are desired because of their intellect, their skills, their knowledge. And when SMEs cannot, you know, adequately staff their companies with the right, you know, intellect and the right people with the right knowledge and skills, you know, then they've missed the whole point. Like they're missing the most important parts of having people in your organization, which is what they bring intellectually. So that's my own experience. You know, not just me, but obviously having to consult for lots of firms. It's always staffing. I tell people HR staffing is the biggest headache of all CEOs. Is talent, managing your talents, because talent is that's the thing you really want in the human, what they bring, you know, in terms of knowledge and skill. So that's my experience, and that's the most, anyone who can crack that one, then you've solved, like, you know, one of the biggest mysteries in that. Anyone who can solve talent issues is definitely, you know, doing a very good job. So that's my own personal experience there, you know, with SMEs. It's always staffing. You never have the right people. And like I said, it's just a vicious circle. No money, so you can't afford the right people. Then you recruit people who don't have the skill, and then you're still not making any money. So I think maybe when we get to Mr. Akanji, Dr. Akanji, he will be able to help us here, because I feel like businesses are not funded. They're not funded adequately, and it puts them in a stuck position. And that's why I see a lot of businesses don't grow. So they might remain at a certain level, and they just don't grow beyond, you know, they don't grow to their full potential. Let me put it that way. And it's not because the founders don't want bigger businesses, but you can get to a certain size that you just become stuck because there's no investment. Yeah, and like I said, the biggest investment is in human capital.
That's very quite interesting. I thought you were going to crack for us, but it's okay. We will crack this problem together. We'll find it.
Well, I mean, I'm here to learn as well. I mean, in as much as we want to. Well, in terms of cracks, there are options for small businesses. And I think one of the biggest things I tell people, especially with the pandemic and what the acceleration of IT, what it has done for us, you don't have to own all your human capital. You don't. So we all have this old mentality that, you know, I must own. When I mean own, I must buy my talent, mean I must recruit a full-time employee to work for me. No, there are options now. Some of the talents you need, you can borrow them. You know, you can borrow. So you don't have to buy all your talent. You can borrow. You can borrow Funke. You can borrow Adora for a month. You understand? It's much cheaper. And then, of course, you're going to get better quality. So you can borrow. There are lots of freelancers. There are lots of gig workers. You don't have to buy all your talent. So small businesses, stop looking at owning or affording somebody on such a stipend, small. Borrow someone for a short period, and, you know, and let them do their magic within that short period. You can borrow, you can bot. With technology, you don't have to have, like, for example, there's some roles, customer service, administrative roles. You can get a bot, for example, to answer frequently asked questions. Even people that have WhatsApp. WhatsApp is very popular in this part of the world. You see that lots of people have WhatsApp for business. It immediately, you program frequently asked questions, so that as soon as people send a message, you have, instead of having people, you know, sitting on WhatsApp all day, a bot, which is a robot, another word for a robot, will do the work for you. So you can borrow, you can bot, you know, you don't have to own all your human capital. You can still buy some, you know, you mustn't be able to afford the kinds you need. You can get them on a short-term basis to deliver what you want. but just make sure you choose the right products, spend your money in vain.
Yeah, is it from me? I can't see. Okay. Are you okay? Adora, thank you very much. I was almost going to lose you towards the tail end, but it's fine. So, I mean, you've just told us that we can borrow, but I hope you are really affordable. I hope Funke is really affordable as it sounded. But I mean, it's quite interesting to hear that. And this is not to scare the people that are coming into the labor market. The interesting thing is, even though we know that small businesses employs over 80% of the workforce, the unemployment rate is also so huge. Okay. And if you look at the skill gap from the small business point of view, so we say, oh, a lot of the small businesses owners are also looking for skilled force, and you hear, oh, the problem is employability. So it's a huge thing. So let's come to Mr. Akanji. So looking at Mr. Akanji's experience, and by the way, we have in the house, we've been talking about money. We have one of our partners, and they also sponsor, they're called Canada Pay. So they only don't provide money in Naira, they provide in foreign currencies. So people looking for money, I hope you won't miss the time when it's time for them to speak. And they have a lot of support. Adora said we can borrow technology. They also have technology on the table. So they have technology on the table, they have local currencies on the table, they have foreign currencies on the table, and they are looking for opportunity to partner with a lot of small businesses. So I hope we will not miss out when it's time for them to speak, and they will be speaking shortly. So stay tuned. Like my people will say that, you know, sometimes I like to do proverb. Unfortunately, that proverb, and people know I like to say a lot of Yoruba proverb. I keep looking for it. So they'll say, if the rat of the house here, tell the rat of the farm. I think that's what they say. So tell your friends, you know, so that they know some of these opportunities are on the table. Oh, thank you. Finally, we have Mrs. Beyoko Alashe Titilayo's video off. Yay! So we can be included finally, and she's already doing the sign language for us. Thank you very much. All right. So we go to Dr. Olusegun Akanji. Dr. Shego, you have to help us marry funding and human capital together. From an equity investment point of view, please, can you share for us what works? You and I know that a lot of times from the funding experience, say funding is not the issue. Now, the human capital people are also telling us that, oh, they think small businesses have funding cash flow issues. So sometimes they actually also need money to be able to afford the right skilled labor. So please, can you help us connect these dots between challenges of funding and human capital, and what has worked from your own experience?
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you can all hear me.
I can hear you.
And thank you for inviting me. Well, I think I'll start from a very practical level. I believe that and small growing businesses, but the popular slang is MSMEs. And the thing with that is, I haven't seen a lot of small businesses become big. We all forget that they are called small businesses. The reason they are called small businesses in the first place is that they have low capital, they have limited access to financing, they probably have limited knowledge, limited access to other support systems. That is how it is everywhere in the world. And that is the truth. I've traveled far and wide, and I've had the chance to have conversations or meet with SMEs. That is the reason why they are first called small businesses. Now, the second thing you need to note is that all the global businesses we talk about today, they were one-time small businesses. For example, if you read the story of Apple, there was a man called Steve Wozniak who actually designed the first logo of Apple when Apple was still struggling as a small business. He left, he sold his shares for $1,200 or they are $1,200 or $1,800. The shares today would have been worth over 100 billion. But because he didn't believe that Apple would make it as a small business at the time, he left. He sold his shares back to Steve Jobs, but it was a small business. Amazon was in a garage for more than 15 years as a small business. Now, so we need to always get that in. There is no big business without that bootstrapping struggle experience. There is hardly any. Even big banks that we talk about today, before they have to, somebody who owned the idea or the collection of people, they have to bootstrap, they have to run around as small business. So it's always like that. It is because of that small is the conversation. So what is lacking? Money must follow value, which means that whoever is the pioneer of that idea must have solid value to place on the table that will attract money. And that is why you find some small businesses, they are there, they never grow, 20 years, 30 years, they are still small. Meanwhile, you find some small businesses after 5 years, 7 years, some even within a year, they get close differentiating factors there. So the first thing I think from the experience I've had, and I tell you, I've had a lot of experience losing money to SMEs. The first thing is gathering people that will help the business grow. So you need to, it's not just about you, you must gather people and be ready to be accountable. So first thing is most businesses start without wanting to have any sense of accountability to anybody. My business for me and I enterprise. It never works. Most times they never work. Even the ones that manage to succeed, they eventually fail. So how many of us can remember the big businesses like doing group of companies? And a couple of those, because their business for me, myself and I, they are not accountable. They grow big and they fail. How many of you remember a company called Creta Hope was owned by Abiola? Those were the big businesses. They failed. Didn't set up a strong board to govern the business. And the day you start your idea, you have friendship. So the first thing is you must look for people who are your friends who will believe in that idea. But most businesses just start without that in place. Sometimes it's husband and wife and their children. So that is why I will go back to the first thing, structure, 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 not the political one they are talking about now. You must sit down after having the idea. Who are the people I can be accountable to, that can talk to me anyhow, whichever way they want, because I want to grow this business, that can demand certain performance expectation from me. So you need a lot of humility as a business starter. Most SME guys are proud. It's my idea. I own it. I started it. It's my. You can never succeed like that. So the first thing is be ready to be accountable to people that have resources and experience to put on the table. So gather those people. So when you gather those people, that helps you to put certain demand of structure, idea, and they enhance and beautify your idea. Remember, when you have your idea, most ideas are like skeletons. Somebody needs to wear, they're like naked, but they might look beautiful. So, but somebody needs to dress them up. That is what the collection of people that you, and then they help you to be able to put you in this where you can pitch, because you start pitching the idea so that you beautify the idea. So that small businesses, internal training with it, introspect your training, the structure that the people that will call, that will sit, whether it's supervisory or whatever. When you train with them, You talk to them about the idea. They will question and query it. It helps you to beautify it. So you learn the pitching skill. And then you get bolder with you. I'll give you an example. You look at recent businesses that go through incubation and acceleration process of this and look at the traditional SMEs. You see that the ones that is within short time than all these traditional SMEs, because they go through the rigor, stress of building the business and putting the right structure and to those people that are on that side. So that's why when you then have this kind of people, they are the ones that will then help you to attract finance into your business. Most of the businesses I have put investment in were introduced by somebody who is now sitting on that board or who believes also in the idea. And then we've put money in them and they've succeeded. A few may have failed, but quite a number have succeeded. So it's very important you have the right network of people and be willing to subject yourself humbly to their queries. So that's the first, those are the points, and that is what is missing in terms of whether you call it talent, training, the fact that you don't want to build the right structure to support the business, having the right, whether it's supervisory, whether it's, you can even give shares to some of these people, let them own some shares for free. And you will see that they will be committed to the business. Some people don't want to, they just don't want, they want to use people, even in Freetown. If you are inviting people to give you their time, which costs money, then you must be willing to say, oh, for you to sit on this board, send shares in this business. And provide them justification for that 5%. So that they will be assured that you are going somewhere, and then they can provide, they can bring their own personal network, knowledge, talent to the table for you to benefit from. That's that's very important from my side. And then the next thing is this: for our own environment, what is lacking? Like I said, why they call them MSME or small growing business is because they have low access to capital, little knowledge, loan, and all of those things. But what is different is that between our market and other market is that we lack what I call the support system and framework. We lack the generalized platform for people to access support system. You come to most developed markets, there are so many support systems that are easily accessible. Easily accessible. Just get on the website, you fill a few forms, they book a meeting for you, and then voila, you are in a meeting, people give you resources. In Nigeria, we hide resources. In our, whether it's almost of the professional organization membership, they hide resources. We need to make the resources accessible, because the more we put the resources online, you check, people download the ones from US, from Canada to do their business. You won't find one Nigerian business that have globalized, that have localized the business plan templates for Nigerians to use. But if you Google, you will find something by Virgin Business, you will find something from Canada, you find from US, you find from different organizations that they've built and localized for their own environment. People just download it and use it. You won't find one from Nigeria. Those are the kind of things that help this. Oh, make the support system open. It doesn't mean they will not patronize your services, because when you support them, they will know that they got the support from you. And once they start to have access to resources, they will start to come to patronize you. I'm just using the business plan one as just a simple example, and many more like that. We talk about HR. If you Google, you find tons of HR planning templates by different foreign organizations, membership organizations, and none, but you will probably not find one from a Nigerian company. Building your organogram template for organogram for an SME. If you Google it, you find tons of templates for from different parts of the world, but you are not likely to find one done by a Nigerian membership organization for them that have been localized, because they've done a lot of research and they know that this is the kind of HR that will work for this or work for that or work for that. They don't do that. They hide it. Then when we now come to a conference, somebody will reel out the data, will be telling us this. That's not the way it works. It doesn't work like that. Because when the idea you keep, people don't appreciate it. So we need to get to where we make knowledge open. And that's why we can have Apple and all these big businesses. Go check the big businesses that have grown in Nigeria, whether it's from banking to all these latest unicorn. They use foreign materials to build their business. That's why they won't speak local language. We need to start localizing, particularly those of you in the consulting field. Let's build support system for our businesses to grow. Let's start building support businesses, support platforms, support systems, for our businesses to grow. So that's where financing comes from. Because it then makes it easy for them, let me use the word leapfrog, yours is Leapworld. Then they can be able to leapfrog some of the stress points and pain points they go through that are not needful, which their counterparts in other markets don't go through, because that support system helps them to leapfrog. And then they are easily able to access investor markets. Let's get how to, if you Google again, how to pitching skills, you probably will find more from foreign market than you'll find any in Nigeria. If you Google, you will find the business plan you'll find the pitching document that Facebook used to raise money. Just Google. You'll find the pitching document that Amazon and all the Airbnb, they used to raise money when they wanted to start. You are not likely to find anyone from a Nigerian company. Just by doing a Google, you will find it. Most of the big companies, what they used when they were raising their first few thousands. These are the things that we need as support system. Now, bringing it all together, the first thing is, I think SMEs, from my own experience, the little investment we have made all over the place is they must get the right people. The right people will give back to the right strategy. Once you have the right people, it will give back to the right strategy. It will strengthen the business metrics and indicator for performance, and then make them attractive for people to put money in there. Now, and then you must get used to the idea that you don't have to own it all. So the next thing I will just talk about briefly, if I'm allowed, is that we have a lot of SMEs in Nigeria, right? But we need to transit them into an ecosystem of definitive support framework, not just an advocacy system. Most of the chambers of commerce we have in Nigeria, they are just an advocacy body. They are just like human rights body. You need to become an ecosystem of strong support. For example, you come to developed market, you find cooperatives that own banks. You find bodies that have invested in financial institutions. But our Chamber of Commerce have not been able to aggregate the SMEs into a strong ecosystem where they can even own a microfinance bank. And you say, oh, banks don't give you money. They don't give you. Do something to make your case. Put your money where your mouth is. I'll stop there in case we have to talk another. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think so. I can see that Tim is already even reacting in the chat. So thank you so much, Dr. Shegun. So I understand that, so all human rights groups, they said we should do beyond, I mean, that's what Dr. Shegun said. It wasn't me. No, we should do more than that. But I'm sure when we get to panel session 2, we will see a lot. See, again, I used to say we can't be a beautiful bride, okay, or a beautiful single lady that is looking for a Mr. Right, and you are sitting in the dark, winking your eyes. That's not a good strategy to use. And I'm very happy that we have panel session 2. So I'm happy that Dr. Olusegun touched about the support framework. And I'm glad that Tim quickly also reacted, because it's a big thing that we are talking about in the panel session too. There is a whole lot of support system. And I know that Tim worked on it for years, even for Nigeria, given his international experience. I'm also happy that Medun is here, so we can look at what are even the support system available. So there's the BDSP framework for Nigeria, we will look at it. The national MSME policy for Nigeria, we'll look at it. Unfortunately, time is never our friend in this kind of situation. And Dr. Akanji has said so much about around structure. So human capital, looking for funding to get the right kind of skill, he said, is not the problem. Be humble, put structure in your business, bring people that can support your business. If you want to run a business, perhaps maybe we just want to do it for sustainability or for sustenance, I rather want to say. Again, so thank you so much, Dr. Akanji, for that submission. We have close to 2,000 people registered. Unfortunately, I understand from all the chats we've been getting that a lot of people are struggling to join, but not to worry. We will try to clean the recording and make that available to all the people that registered. So whether they're able to join or not, we will try to make the recordings available and cleanly for everybody. So we spread the gospel. Okay, but for people, if you have friends that are still struggling to join, they have to go to their emails. So if you registered, a link was sent to you to your email. So you have to go to that email and join from that particular link. If you know you are still unable to join, well, I don't know, sometimes technology gives us some interesting insights. So just copy and put where you are able to click and join, okay? So I understand that we should reshare. So the admin here backend will try and reshare to as many people, but not to worry, we'll make the available to all the people that registered. Okay, so thank you. And I can see some people are already promoting their what they do in the group. It's okay, it's allowed. Please keep doing that. What we will likely do is we collect all the transcripts of this and make available also for the people that join. That's how we will also start supporting the ecosystem in our own access to markets way. So thank you very much, Dr. Akanji. Time is gone. I have to wrap up this session. We will take it beyond here. You know, this time is never enough to discuss burning issues like this. So I'm coming back to my panelists to wrap up this session. I've seen a lot of questions in the Q&A. We would perhaps have to address a lot of them when the session ends, because there are really, really very many. But we'll just speak to a number of them. So I start with Adora. Adora, you heard what Dr. Akanji said, that structure, in his opinion, is actually the issue. That's structure before looking for the money or looking for the people. Even say, but well, you know, wearing my hat here, so structure also costs money, in my opinion and from my experience. Okay, if you are starting your business, I don't know if you agree with me, Adora. So I want us to wrap up your take on structure before funding, before looking for the human being. And what challenges do you think people will have by not bringing these so-called friends or people that we're supposed to trust, or giving shares to the staff? He said, give them shares, they'll be on board. What, as you wrap up, and we take a lot of the questions, we collate and share with the panelists. So put your questions in the Q&A, in the chat room, we collate all of them. So in your rounding up opinion, Adora, why do you think, if we know share structures are here, there, why are we not taking advantage of it from the beginning? Why are we not bringing those our friends and families and well-wishers, the ones we know, the ones we don't know, to come and listen to our great business idea that we have, and we want to dash them in that session and say, listen, you know, this is how I plan to make money. What are the struggles of businesses?
Yeah, I think I think one of the biggest issues is awareness, and initially, a lot of small businesses don't start right. And I even use, I mean, Funke, me and you have had several conversations. Most entrepreneurs maybe start their business because they were good at doing what they did, and they started getting customers and they just start. based on what Dr. Akanji was saying, there is a better way to start. But when you're not even aware that you can, a lot of businesses and business owners are not really aware. People who went to business school or people who have been exposed earlier, they are aware of these ways. But most SMEs, if you go and speak to most of the SMEs now, it didn't even occur to them that, to set up a board. So you can't do what you've never known. Right? So he's right in the sense that these companies are more likely to be successful because there's accountability and structure. But the truth is that if you notice, and I'm sure you're a consultant yourself, most of the people that you're consulting for, it didn't even occur to them. Like, they were very good at what they were doing and they just continued. So I think the first thing is education awareness that, for longevity and sustainability, this is a better way. You must also agree with me that when a business has already started, it is more difficult, to put things in, like to backtrack. So a lot of business, I've seen it, and it costs a lot of business. I've seen, for example, businesses that, I saw a deal that went bust, like it didn't happen. Very good business, but the investors pulled out because of horrible accounting, non-existent. I mean, the person's accountability and their books were in a mess. Right? But honestly, I could understand how this came about in the first place. So education first for a lot of business owners, that because you can't do what you don't know. So yes, it's good, but if you don't even know that this is a better way, you never start. Right. And then remember that the lack of structure we even talk about, especially.
Sorry, Adora, to cut you because of time.
Okay, yes. Yeah.
I know we can't talk.
So I think
I'm happy that the second segment is going to talk extensively on the BDSP framework for Nigeria and the national MSME policy. Okay, so I mean, we will get to know some of these things. But I'm really concerned about some of the things you said about money. We can talk about, do we really need money? But apart from that, why are we not giving shares to our staff? Is there any reason? I gave you my offer letter and I said, take my shares as you are coming into my business.
I think there's a low trust environment. There's a very low trust environment. If it's Africa, there's a low, and like the regulation and the lack of structure is not even just at the organizational level. It's at there's no trust. When you don't trust people, so it starts from there. And it's because there's very little regulation. So ultimately, and then also there's a sense of, there's a sense of greed. And people do want to use people. No, but on the employer side, you have to be honest. People, when you're there and you're thinking it's all about me, and you're working with people. Business is a team sport.
What about the employee side? What concerns will the employers have on the employee side?
But you know what? Yes, it's the lack of trust that, this person will run off tomorrow and I wouldn't see them again. They might take all my stuff and go away. And that's why the documentation needs to be, you can't do everything on, you have to document. After all, these shares, you are portioned in an agreement, if it's done properly. If the person runs off, usually I'm sure you're going to discuss this, there's a cliff period.
You think the labor law is
You don't have to give anybody.
So sometimes I think the labor law is skewed. Where's the protection for the other party?
You can have good agreements. You don't necessarily have to give anybody part of your business from day one. If you have a cliff, and give people a part of your business after 3 years, 4 years, where it's vested, those are things to protect you. So get a good lawyer who is very conversant with, corporate governance. So it's when we try to do these things ourselves, that's when we actually shoot ourselves in the foot. Okay. But you can actually give this kind of incentives by getting people who are really, schooled in these areas, and they'll help us with all these things. But when you try and do it yourself, you make a mess out of all these things.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We can't finish this conversation today. We need to have a
yes, I know.
And we will collect all the questions, like I said. So CIPM, my treasurer, in all this that we've been saying, I'm sure CIPM will not be one of those people that we are seen as what did Dr. Akanji say they are? human rights. That's, you know, so we're not human rights association. Okay, so do you want to give, kindly give information on how we can be reached so that people will know that we are really there at CIPM to support? So how can we be reached? What are the steps that they can take to get through to us and enjoy some of these benefits that we really have on the table? I know there's something also on the table, tying the national MSME policy, some of the projects, even conversations going on with Medun. So everything can tie up together at some point. Okay, please, how can we reach CIPM SME Help Desk?
Well, CIPM is physically at number 1 CIPM Avenue at Alausa. So we can walk in there anytime and request to see the right person. Beyond that, you can also check our website. I can see questions asking how they can log in, be part of our programs. So www.cipmnigeria.org is the website. We can also send messages or emails to info@cipmnigeria.org. So all those are avenues, but we can walk straight up to allow CIPM Avenue, and we can reach CIPM and discuss with anyone we want to discuss with. For us at CIPM, it's about people, and where people are, there we want to be. And like they say, people are the greatest asset you have in your business. So let's relate with CIPM and get our people matters right from day one, whatever level. And one thing I noticed is that we seem to be putting the SMEs in one bucket. I hope we know that there are some large SMEs that can actually afford to engage the skills they want. But there are some too that just have 1 or 2 staff and are startups. So when we put them in one bucket like this, it then becomes a bit confusing. So I know that some of them have the right skill, because when I try to find out about SME, I found out that people who have less than 250 employees, that's a huge number. There are some of them that have HR directors in their organization. But of course, there are some that have 1 or 2 people, and you begin to wonder whether they want to spend 100, 200,000 paying a staff to manage 1 or 2 people. So that's also something to consider. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been great being here. And we will look forward to tying up our MOU with Medun and get things rolling.
Okay, so Medun, we've been called out here. Mazi Ewans, you've been called out. So that was intentional and strategic. Okay, thank you very much, my treasurer, for taking the bull by the horn. Thank you very much. We have to wrap up this session. In session 2, we will talk about the different categories of SMEs. And you are right, SMEs are not in the same bucket. We have the nanos, we have the micros, we have the small, and we have the medium enterprises with different numbers of employees and turnover. Thank you very much, Dr. Akanji. In one sentence, Dr. Akanji has a lot to say, we know. So we'll come with another session. In one sentence, what will be your parting shots? One short sentence.
Well, I would say 2. First is that, like I said, what I said before that you are quoting is that I said membership-based organizations should move from being advocacy and human rights organization to building support systems and framework. Just to correct that. Now, all we need is SMEs. The greatest strength of SME is partnership. If you are going to grow to become a big business, your greatest strength is partnership. Look for people that can join with you to make your business great. Partnership makes business great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a great way to end. Partnerships makes businesses great. So Adora, that our partnership is long overdue. We have to make it work.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Thank you very much. CIPM partnership with Medun is long overdue. We have to make it work. All right.
Agree.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. We agree.
Bye.
Yes, and have a fantastic time. So as we move to the next segment, we have a short break, and we have our sponsor and one of the partners, Canada Pay, also have very interesting things they think we can benefit from, and they will be joining us shortly. But we have a quick game. Now, I said something about the different categories of MSMEs. I mentioned 4. Fastest finger to tell me these different categories. In the chat, again, no Medun staff, no Leapworld staff, no Leapworld X staff. So the different categories, fastest finger of MSMEs according to the classifications I mentioned. Okay, fastest finger to go. Then please start getting ready, Cynthia, Canada Pay, you are going on next. So you can come on whilst that game is going on. If you miss a letter or you misspelled it, you are wrong. You are wrong. Fastest finger to get it right is the winner. So Canada Pay, you can set up, you are up. I think I can enable you for video. Is your video enabled? If you want to show video.
Yes, it is. Yes,
fantastic. It is. Okay, so you can share. So you have the floor, Canada Pay, whilst our game is going on.
All right. Thank you for putting this up. I must say that apart from just coming here to speak about what Kadana does, it's been very insightful for me also. So my name is Cynthia Alabi. I'm a management professional with experience growing businesses across different industries, including Nigeria, one of double the intent, helping businesses like UBA, Access Bank, MTN save costs while leveraging technology to automate their processes. Technology is key for us. Currently, I'm the growth manager at Kadana. Kadana is a US-based HR fintech company with operations in Nigeria, Ghana, and Kenya. And just like Dr. Akanji said, partnership. We're partnering with African large and small businesses to automate their processes around salary payments, employee compensation, cross-border payments, not only to enhance productivity, but to ensure cost savings.
Do you have
a small businesses? It's important.
Canada Pay. Are you sharing your screen? Do you want to share your screen? Although that can be made available later.
Do you want me to? Yes, I can.
Yeah, you can share so we can connect.
Yeah, I can share my screen. Okay. All right. I think I'll just go on because it's either I can't share my screen now that I have unmuted myself. So I'll probably just go on just to save us time. So like I was saying, thanks Funke for putting this together, and thanks to the panelists. It was very insightful joining this call. My name is Cynthia. I'm a management professional with experience growing businesses across different industries, including Uber Nigeria, where even in COVID, we were able to double our revenue while helping businesses like UBA, Access Bank leverage on technology to automate their processes. Currently, I work as growth manager for Kadana. Kadana is a US-based HR fintech company with our operations in Nigeria, Ghana, and Kenya. Key on what Dr. Akanji said on partnership, we are partnering with African large and small businesses to automate their processes around salary payments, employee compensation, and cross-border payments. This is not only to enhance productivity, but also to ensure they're saving costs. We've been talking about how finances is very important to small businesses. Saving every naira, every kobo is important to keeping them or enabling their sustainability in these times. At Kadana, we have founders who have worked at top companies in the world, and their belief is that businesses are the backbone of the economy. However, they also believe that people are the biggest assets to each business, just like what the CIPM representative said. Due to the effect of COVID-19, businesses have had to incur a lot of losses. Inflation rate in Nigeria is currently over 17%. 90% of employees have had to suffer financial anxiety because they're basically living from paycheck to paycheck. 52% of these workers have become less effective at work, which is something Adora was talking about. So even when you have stores great talents, right? Keeping these talents or even making them effective, even though they have the mental capability, is difficult when they're financially stressed. And so Kadana has risen to this occasion and has created a platform where employees can now access their wages when they have emergencies. So this would reduce the financial stress on the company and then make the employees more effective at work. I dare to say that this is at no cost implication or risks to the businesses. In a nutshell, we're saving small businesses the stress of using their current cash flow to make employees happy, thereby increasing productivity and saving costs. Another thing this platform does is it would allow you have a single directory of all your employees. Dr. Akanji spoke a lot about structure. As a business, right, it's good to have somewhere, leverage tech to have your employees in one place. You do your payments, you do everything in this platform, and you're able to generate reports. For instance, when you're speaking to investors, right, you need this report to show the structure and the report to also build insights for your organization. Kadana is also helping businesses have access to make cross-border payments. Accessibility of Forex to small businesses has become something that has been headache to a lot of small business owners. This platform gives them access to over 13 currencies at very competitive rates. In all of this, right, we dare to say that security and privacy is also important for us. So as we're partnering with businesses to automate their processes, taking off the burden from employers to make their employees happy so that they bring their best foot forward, making it easy for SMEs to make payments to their vendors internationally without having to think. I think what this would do for all medium and small business owners is make them focus on strategizing to grow their business, as opposed to having headaches with little things that technology has helped them solve. So basically, because of the time we have, little time we have, I would say that you should contact us, and then we would show you how we're helping businesses at no cost and no risk to the organizations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kadana and Canada Pays. So we will make more information available. They have a lot of issues that they are trying to provide solutions to for small businesses. And they have a lot of testimonials and track records. So we make, Cynthia, you can also share with us, I mean, you could mention how we can reach you. We'll make that available also at the end of the program. Or you want to just say how?
All right, so you can send an email to sales@canadapay.com. You can also go to our website www.cadanapay.com, or you can call, right, 080-277-54077, and we'll be happy to just look at your business and see which of our solutions fits your business.